What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the garage, and we're going to go ahead and get an early start because why not? I did come upstairs early to make sure everything was updated and was going to work properly. I had to update a couple things, but I still came upstairs way too early. So after a couple weeks off, it has been pretty busy around the garage. And in fact, I spent about 2 weeks just cleaning the garage from all the destruction and mayhem that led up to Rocky Mountain Race Week. It was just a pigsty, and it's finally back to a place that's willing, I feel like working in, which is very important. You got to have a healthy environment in which to work, or else you just can't get motivated to do any work. Go away, string. There we go. On top of that, been fighting all kinds of fun issues on the Nova as far as the voltage issues. Got that sorted out finally. Had to run a smaller pulley on my upgraded alternator to get that thing to idle at 13.5, 13.6 volts at idle. But that all looks good. Now I just seem to have the problem, and tell me what you all think here. I've got a problem with it just pulls all the voltage down whenever I'm cranking that big block over. So if that thing doesn't fire up the first time in like the first 10 seconds or so, it drains the battery enough where the Holley HP will not just start the car. Won't fire the injectors or the spark plugs or anything like that. Yeah, very thirsty on the voltage. And so I did some tweaking and stuff like that to try and mitigate what was running during cranking, so the fans and things like that all shut off. But, I can tell. Like, I'll crank that thing, and it's because I need more grounds. That's what they all say. I'll crank that thing, and, I can tell if it's going to fire off or not. Yeah, high torque mini starter. Yep. Yeah, Power Master, I don't know, just like a $400 starter on that thing. But it takes all the amps. All the amps. Ugh. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. Battery's in the trunk, but I'm running 2.0 to the starter and 1.0 to everything else. So, and then I have multiple grounds. I go out of the trunk to a chassis ground, and then I have another ground that goes up to a chassis ground that goes up to a block ground that goes to all the heads. It's not a ground or a wire issue. Yeah, I've got all the cable. Like, as I said, that's one thing that I want to make sure of. Same hot or cold. Well, Dan, I'll be honest with you, cold's not an issue because the thing cold starts better than it hot starts right now. I'm trying to get the hot start dialed in, get the fueling and parked IAC position for hot start where it's firing up real quick, and it's not quite there yet. Install a decompression valve to get her going. Exactly. Is there a way that I can just spin it over with the plugs out and get it started, throw them in real quick? But, yeah, as I say, if I can get the hot start dialed in good, it won't be much of an issue. But as I said, if you crank that thing more than about 8 seconds, it puts enough strain on the battery that it's a brand new battery. 800 CCA on the battery. But, I don't know. I've got some extra stuff sitting around. I was actually thinking about running a secondary battery. Nah, base timing's 15 degrees. Shouldn't be an issue. I mean, I could lower it down to 10 to help alleviate the pressure that it's trying to start against and see if that helps. But said, I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make just because, it's decent. It's high 11s. High 11s on the compression. It's a big motor. I mean, it's almost 600 cubic foot. Yeah, I don't want to mess with 16-volt system. I don't want to deal with the hassle of swapping, especially because I just bought like a $450 12-volt alternator. Speaking of cold start, which enrichment lambda should I command? It's cold over here at the moment. Well, enrichment for starting or just running, period? What up, Scooby Sam? I mean, if you're just talking about period, it should be the same. Running just after start. Well, you have your ECT tables. I mean, that's fine. I would just leave it as is and not mess with it. By taking it, you know, your after start goes for a while based on the temperature. You know, that determines how long after start runs on that enrichment. So the warmer it is, the less after start fueling that you're going to have. What up, Ozman? So, I don't know. We're talking about going and doing test and tune tomorrow. I'm trying to decide if I want to install another battery before tomorrow. I don't know. I do not know. I don't know. My hair's trying to peek out over my ears. I'm tired. I didn't get my nap in this afternoon. Yeah, it's running good. All the closed loop stuff's dialed in real well. Yeah, it's going great. Oh, hey, Dad. Dad is headed to Colorado to get away from the heat, I'm guessing. Be careful. You should not be watching this and driving, by the way. We don't condone that. Keone made it. It's only 2. Yeah. Sorry, man. You're way out there on the west. Are all the fuel pumps running at startup? No, just the 2 primaries. The lift pump only runs for 1.5 seconds. Yep. What up, Les? Bang energy drink, John says. Yeah, that'd be great. Let's chug an energy drink an hour before bedtime. Don't do that. Don't do that. Hi-oh, Silver. Away. You know, they're not bad. It is, you know, it's above 12, no problem, until you engage the starter, and then it drops down to like 10. What up, Rich? Hey, Dirt Floor. Good to see you, brother. Did an exhaust change. 3-inch pipe, and it ran like doo-doo. It was jerky at even speeds. Looked up your bid on exhaust. Can I tune from the map? Can I tune from the map to that frequency table? Can I tune from the map to that frequency? Yeah, I mean, I'm not quite wondering what you're asking about, Ozman, but yes. Has anyone got past the tuner lock on the P01 via grounding the flash chip? That's an interesting question, PCM Frenzy. I've never tried it. Well, you know, 10 volts, the thing still cranks well. It's just that's getting down to that threshold where Holley's stuff won't fire the injectors and spark plugs. That's the problem. So, I don't know. I've been having an issue with my 99 Camaro SS with the new motor. Starts surging bad after 140 degrees. Idles before that. Didn't do that on the old motor. What did you change on the motors from one to the other? Yeah, I think so too. Therefore, I'm thinking about going to testing tomorrow also. Second battery. Yep. Well, I've got one of those 250 amp disconnects that I can literally isolate the ECU from the starter during cranking, and then once it's up and running, I can put the ECU battery on the charge circuit. Might help. 5.3 LSP1SC flash, 2-bar on ECU, but cannot get to rebub. Oh, well, you said you checked and rechecked PIDs. Yeah, Ryan, I mean, it should be, you should have a new parameter that adds in there for the 2-bar OS. It's not the base parameter. Double check that, man. Yeah, Moto, that's basically what I'm talking about, is running a separate battery for the Holley ECU, and then once, as I said, once it gets above it, like a certain RPM, just go ahead and close that relay to charge the circuit up. Do I extract the MAF frequency table to start bass tune for a 4-inch intake? You're probably going to need to go up. Your hertz are going to go down for the amount of air. So if you have this much air, it was at this hertz beforehand, now it's going to be at this hertz. So if you were to take the diameter difference, if you were a 3-inch to 4-inch, and that's like a 25% or something like that, you would shift it down 25%. You can do the math. Can I tune from the mass airflow sensor to the airflow frequency table? Did adjust the table, added 15%, and cleared up the jerky stuff. Bo Engel, glad to hear it. What up, MK? I still don't quite understand what you're asking, Theo. The Oz. Can I tune from the mass airflow sensor to the airflow frequency table? That's the same thing. The mass airflow and the airflow frequency table are the same things. What up, Steven? Okay. Probably need to try Hi-O Silver. Probably need to try pulling some fuel out to begin with on the lower end because of the cam. And then work your way out from idle. Do a video on Gen 4 LSPE tuning. I thought I did, but if I didn't, I can touch on it again. I have no experience with the Edelbrock Pro EFI. Well, that's good to hear, Dirt Floor. Thinking it feels like it's making more on 7 than it was on 12. That's the way the truck was after I did the rebuild on it, man, and lowered the compression ratio and put the new cam in. I thought about that initially, Andrew, but it may just be easier to put another battery on there. Yeah, I don't know. It did strand me. It stranded me because of that. Now, granted, I was running the bigger pulley on the alternator, and it was only putting out about 12 volts at idle. Went to get gas, and she, of course, wouldn't start. But luckily, the guy from Advanced Auto down the road, like 0.2 miles away, was nice enough to come down and bring me some jumper cables and jump me. Andrew is correct, Moto Brewmaster. Other than, just look for your target PE. That's all you're doing on the PE tuning side of things. Everything else is base fuel, and PE is a modifier of your base fuel. Man, tell you what, you start a little early and it feels like you should be shutting down early. We're only 5 minutes in. I think the Glide versus 400 freed up some power. Has more compression, went from T4 to T6 turbo. Well, yeah, I mean, the Glide takes, what, 30 horsepower, 30 foot-pounds to drive versus 60 or 70 that the Turbo 400 does. Yeah, John, I know how that goes, man. I am actually in the process of getting back to flush. I got new 60 pounds from a build as the other ones were leaking. Didn't realize the pound-hour limit for the E38, but when I checked my ECM, had the 128. Yeah, at some point in time, they did update those. Different OS. Thanks, Shane. We are drinking Pure Leaf sweet tea. Yay. Should I trade in my MPVI 1 for the new MPVI 2? VJ, honestly, that's going to be based on what you're tuning. At the end of the day, that's more on whether or not you need the features to tune on newer vehicles. If you don't, stick with what you got. Keone, yeah. In fact, I got a new cold air intake for the GT350 that I need to install, but I've been playing around with the Nova the last week and a half. So, Healthcare, just not tonight, Andrew. Installing them at work. Okay, for the most part, been having a weird issue with the latest one. The wideband randomly keeps cutting out. Yeah, I have no clue about those, Rich. Never messed with the Edelbrock stuff. Marin, you're talking about droid, whatever it's called. Somebody will pop into the chat. I believe that's for the older stuff. I don't know that you can necessarily do that on anything past 3rd gen, right? Yeah, VJ, if you're just doing 3 and 4, you're fine, man. Not yet. I was getting ready to, but then other things got in the way. I want to get the Super Auto back from storage. Craig R, yeah, they do have an upgrade program. If you go into your user account on there and go to your MPVI, there should be the option to upgrade there. There you go. Fuzzy says LS Droid only works for the PL1 and the P59. Had a Gen 3 that fried 2 ECUs when I tried reading the file. Any ideas? Ugh, Gen 3s. Good Lord. Oh, my wife turned the TV down. Depending on what Gen 3 it is, some are prone. That's why a lot of people update to the later model Gen 3 stuff, which is a fairly common, easy swap. But basically, they don't have any checksums in there to make sure that the files are getting written properly, and so it opens up a communications channel. If the communications get interrupted by anything, RFI, low voltage, things like that, it basically locks out the ability to pull the ECU anymore and turns them into a brick. Yeah, as John the Jungle says, check that your battery voltage isn't dropping on you. There you go. VJ says it's $189 if you trade in your old unit, unless you add Pro, which adds about $200, I would guess, for the Pro stuff. But it does come with the dongle. In fact, I got the new Pro Link Plus dongle, the one with the screw-on connector. It showed up the other day. I haven't had a chance to play with it. Gen 3, is it okay to reprogram in the vehicle? Yeah, as long as you watch your voltage. As said, voltage is very, very... very important. Can that be fixed with the pin grounding deal that they talk about? I don't know that that can, but I don't know enough about those to be able to say one way or the other. Gen 3 airflow versus frequency hertz. That's what I meant. Okay. Tune it from the MAF sensor. Yes. MAF sensor. Osman, go back into the tuning videos or the Gen 3 playlist and watch, and I'll go exactly over that process. Well, those are pretty easy to get to, aren't they? In most cases, aren't those in the engine bay? Hi, I have a Z28 with a TIC SNS2 T56 3.5 9-inch and have some bucking in second gear or any gear when I'm on low speed and around 1,000 to 1,300 more spark. Blah blah blah. Giuliani, is your speed density tuned or are you on a MAF only one? Osman, I have a video specifically that walks through 3rd gen MAF tuning. Go to the 3rd gen playlist, watch it. It'll tell you exactly what to do. Jonathan, keep it simple and concise. That's all I ask. You're in speed density. Okay, good to know. So, it's bucking in second gear. Any gear while I'm in low speed around 1 to 1,300 RPMs. Only tried less more spark air and same issues. I mean, it's really hard to tell without being able to check out the logs on something like that, man. Correct, as Dirt Floor says, make sure if you have a battery charger on there that is not set to anything over trickle, you know. You want that 2 to 6 amp mode, not the 40 or the 150. You able to tune BCM and chassis stuff with HP tuners? Nope. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, PCM Frenzy. It could just be the big cam overlap. Where am I located? Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Can I send you a log? You can check out the Patreon if you want to send me a log. That's how we do all that through. Checked everything, voltage connections, drove stock 6-liter 4L80. Came for a tune. It had 4 weeks till I figured out the ECU fried, so I bench tuned it. Yep. Okay. Just got a Subaru Impreza 2.5 RS. I hate you. Is it the RS Coupe? What year is it? Stripped out 1 bolt for timing belt, only $134,000. How much do you want for it? Is it a coupe? Is it rust free? What year is it? I do not do in-person tuning. Yeah, sounds good, Jonathan. What up, TJ? It's been busy, brother. Been busy. Hey, Moddage. '01 4-door. That's the last year that they made the RS. Oh, wait a second. This is GC8, right? This isn't the Bug Eye, is it? Should be a GC8. Check out the links in the description. It'll get you to the Patreon. You're looking for Tuner Tier 2.0. What up, Corey Grove? How's life down in the Steel City? Crazy. Not bug. Oh, man, I want another GC8 RS. Now you're going to get me shopping for GC8 Subarus again. Good luck, Ryan. Thanks for stopping by, brother. Awesome backyard. I appreciate it, man. Moto Brewmaster, you can go down 0.87. Just watch it. Just watch it. Correct. It's Tuner 2.0. How's the Nova? I was talking earlier, the thing's taking all the voltage and eating it, but the new alternator's doing a good job. It's just, whenever I try to crank that thing up, the starter just kills my voltage. And so it kills it enough that the ECU's not wanting to fire. So I've got to say, I think I'm just going to install another battery in it. Give us more capacity. I'm tempted, honestly, just to install another battery without the cutoff and see how it does. And maybe I don't even need to worry about doing the cutoff stuff. No reason to add complexity. Oh, and by the way, I did order that Holley CAN expansion I/O module to play around with. So I'll do a video on it, see if it's worthwhile, see if it works well. I get a little bit nervous about controlling I/O across CAN bus on stuff like that. DZ. No problem, brother. You wouldn't be the first French guy I've helped out. Well, it's compression versus displacement. You know, the compression's not stupid high, but it is still, you know, almost 600 cubic inches. Well, the starter's not on the battery cutoff. Only the ECU's on the battery cutoff. Nice, Moto. Yeah, as I said, the ground goes from the battery to the chassis, but at the same time, that's a split off because there's a line that goes all the way from the battery to the front chassis, to the rear chassis, to the heads, to the block, to the heads. It is not a ground issue. No, it's a high torque. Yeah, there's no way I was going to, it's a Moroso battery cutoff, but I wasn't going to pull 800 amps for a battery cutoff if I didn't have to. You know, Jonathan, no, but it would be, I should probably go in and do one of the random tests that you can do online to see, one of the tests. Okay, good to know, Dirt Floor. No. High resistance and lead to the start. No. The starter is one continuous run of 2-aught welding wire. So it's about as big as your finger on the stranded cores, not even considering the insulation. That stuff is, boom, big wire. So it is not drop on that wire. And then 1-aught is being ran to the ECU. So, as I said, it's none of this. It's nothing to do with that side. It's just the fact that, as I said, we are trying to crank over a big motor. I'm running snake eater injectors on the Nova right now. And I've been very happy. Ground, maybe 2 or 1.0. I can't remember. It's big. It's big enough, and as I said, it's multi-connected. It's, I've got, the block is grounded to the chassis in multiple places, and then there's a continuous ground all the way back to the battery, and then there's 2 or 3 chassis grounds back to the battery. Just pulled about 2 hours through Houston, down the Gulf, pulling side by side, changed the converter, third to 6. She stayed together, did great. Guess it did something right. That always feels good. Yeah, I'm running the newer 1500s. I'm not sure because I use, on the Holly, it's basically a drop-down menu for the injectors. Wattage, I thought about that. I really had. In fact, I was looking at like 10 amp hour batteries, just something, for the 20 seconds that the thing was cranking. Theoretically, something like that could work. But I think it's just going to be easier for me to go ahead and wire in a second battery. I've got all the room. I've got all the equipment to mount another battery in the trunk. Like it would be an hour-long job at the most and just be done with it. What size pump to support the 1500s? 2 325s. Is there much to be gained tuning in stock 2012 GMC 5.3? Yeah, I mean, design build, I'll give you just a kind of example, and this is more of an extreme example, but whenever I bought my 2008 Corvette back in 2008, I took that thing down and ran a 14.7 on the track, pulled it into the pits, pulled out HP tuners, made a couple tweaks on the stock tune, put it back on the track and ran a 12.3 the next run. So there's always room to be had on stock vehicles. You got to remember, stock tune is generalized to fit every single vehicle that rolls out of there and goes every single place in the world for the most part. So yeah. How well, Moto, how well do lithium ion batteries do on charging on a 12-volt system? Exactly. Looking at a car, power, burning tires. Rephrase your question or what you're saying. Well, there you go. I guess would a 2012 not 2012 5.3 probably has PE on it, doesn't it? I thought only the 6 liters didn't have PE. I think a GT35 too big for an EJ25. Nah. I don't even know what language you're speaking. LIFEP04. LIFEP04. I haven't worked on battery stuff in 20 years. These sound expensive just because they have so many letters in them. LifePo 4 12 volt. Lithium iron phosphate. Nice, Catan. That's what I like to hear, man. It probably wasn't too bad. No, see, I don't want to have to deal with putting anything on a charger. I don't want to have to deal with it. This is a street car. This is a street car. I'd rather just put another battery in there and be done with it. I literally have another battery of the same exact make and size sitting right beside my car that I can just throw in there and be done with it. Well, I don't like cold weather either. Trans shifts were weird. They go off of output shaft RPM versus engine RPM for the tables. Interesting. Had to take it out of neural network and back to VE, but it runs like champ. Man, I was looking at a car the other day that the dude had done a lot of mods on and left the neural network on, and it corrected for all of his mods. Like, he sent me the log and the tune, and I went through the log, and his AFRs were all spot on. And he's like, I'm not sure if this thing's running right. And I looked at it, I was like, man, this thing's running great from what I can see. Yeah, but those VE tables are the same on both of them. That at least on all of the ones I looked at. What's going on with SEMA and the RPM Act? I have not heard anything on it later other than other people getting jacked up. Yeah, Maj, no beer tonight, man. In fact, I don't even have any beer in the house right now. VVT on the stock cams, you probably want to leave on. Once you go to a aftermarket cam, though, get rid of VVT even on the Hemis. Get a non-VVT cam. Good. I don't know what my wife is watching, but it is noisy. I did look. Did look to see if there's any beer, but there was none. We're doing Justin's car next weekend, I believe. Is that next weekend? Yep. Not the 7th, but the 14th, we're bringing his Challenger in and putting his Pro Charger and his cam and his headers on. And we'll be doing some tuning on it, so we'll see whether or not I can figure it out. What raises boost in a 2011 Buick Regal 2.0? It's torque tables that raises the boost. Shouldn't be the torque tables, but there should be a duty cycle table underneath airflow and turbo. Look for the duty cycle table and try raising the duty cycle up. Fight the intake runner valve. Put a lockout on it. Yeah, the RPM Act doesn't pass. We just have to move to states like Oklahoma. What do you recommend doing to a Cam 5.3? Just the basic steps. Might have to lower your cranking VE down 15-20%. You know, my father-in-law went moddage. I did not go this year. I had other stuff. I was cleaning the garage. Literally, I was wanting to clean the garage. Ooh, gonna run that Torque Storm. Man, I should really install a Torque Storm on something too. LSA supercharger installed this winter. I really got the hots for a C7 Z06 right now. How hard to tune factory PCM. Just gotta watch it. Just gotta watch it. Just gotta watch the videos. Gotta watch the information. Go out there. Just absorb as much information as you can. Make small changes. That's the big thing. Ecotech Swift Miata. Nice. Yeah, I think I need to take the F1A out of the Super Auto and step it back down to D1X or something. D1SC, wherever the hell they are. A D1. F1A's a little bit too crazy. Running Saturn Sky maps, nice. Yeah, I can imagine. I have had a Miata, and even with just the Miata motor in it, those things can get a little bit crazy. No problem, Andrew. Yeah, nice design build. Yeah, well, as I said, if you would have saw my garage, whew, golly, it was bad. I had to rent a storage building just to get stuff out of there so I could clean it. Pistons rods are back ordered on my L83, throwing some Gen 4 rods and new stock pistons back in so I can make LS Fest. What sort of ring gap are you running the Super Auto? Big. Big. I use the standard bore calculation. It's like in the 30,000s or so. I can't remember. What pistons and rods were you trying to run, Mason? Guy at work is selling an H2 with a Whipple on it. Might actually be able to merge at speed then. Get some, I mean, check it out. You could get some K1 rods. They're a good price. And then see about getting maybe Gwatney Performance pistons. I'm just saying. You don't have to get everything from Texas Speed. There you go. Dirt Force says 030 and forget about it. I might be running closer to 032 on mine, but yeah. Okay, sounds good, TJ. I'll talk to you next week. I've been really happy with K1 rods. So that's why I'm running the Super Auto. That's what's in the big block in the Nova. For a forged rod, I like K1s. For the price, especially. Shoving an LA653 in Miata. Have you messed with the user-defined parameters much? No, not at all. And I'll tell you why, Skyler, because not really an easy way to get your hand on bin files for Gen 4 and Gen 5 stuff. And then on top of it, there's no definitions for those bin files. So it is a whole new level of craziness. Has a 250,000 miles on it. Should probably have enough ring gap. Probably has enough ring gap on the outside of the rings. Ah, sweet. Alpha OBD. I've not seen that unit. Let me look that up. The guys from... Huh. Oh, okay, so this is the FCA stuff. Okay, okay. Cool, cool, cool. The guys from Canny Logic hit me up. I hadn't talked to them in forever. They're sending some stuff over to check out. I mean, if it's got a 250,000 miles on it, send it anyways, right? Yeah, exactly. The stuff I had on the country club. Boost level is at DC min max. Compressor map feed forward. Man, PCM without looking directly at a tune. It's not going to be compressor map, and I don't think it'll be feed forward, but it's probably wastegate duty cycle max, if I were to guess. Try bumping that up. What's it at right now? I know it's probably in a table, but... yeah, exactly. Had a raw delete button. Joe, I think we're going to try and go tomorrow. Interesting. How did you find the parameter for cluster fuel density in that bin file? That's what I'm interested to know about, Skylar. You should make a YouTube channel, Skylar, and do a video on that. I may be the only subscriber because I may be the only person that's nerdy enough to go that far down the rabbit hole. What are your thoughts on adjusting injector timing for bigger cams idling issues? I mean, if you need to. I always say don't mess with injector timing unless you have issues with injector timing. If you start getting into a lot of overlap and stuff like that, then you need to look at your EOIT and bring that forward a couple degrees so it's not spraying during the overlap. But at the same time, if you do have a wider low profile on there, you can start spraying earlier. But you also have to remember that a lot of times on that kind of stuff, you're doing port injection. So you may be spraying before the normal valve opening. But the big thing that you got to look at in injector timing is you got to look at your cam angles versus your crank angles, and you've got to do the calculations to see exactly what the timing is, because all that stuff is in degree timing on the crank. Gotta love them air-cooled blocks. You guys, this is not the stuff that we need to talk about the day before I go racing. I don't have a good history of racing in the last couple of years, if you don't remember. I've not made a solid full pass down the track the last 7 or 8 times I've been to the track. I've blown a motor, destroyed a drive shaft, tore the rear end out of a truck, and then I made multiple passes with broken lifters in the Nova. And still cut a 167 60 foot somehow. I don't know how it worked. I believe that's the one that completely destroyed it. Moddage, if you delve into it, let me know. I'd love to find out about it. But I will say that the Nova is running great right now. I mean, it should. I had to throw another $2,000 at the top end of it. Change the lane from the last time. Yeah, I need to quit running the left lane. Oh, God. You know, Jerry, I was thinking about getting one of those actual smoke testers, finally. Instead of doing the old shove the vacuum cleaner in there and then spraying everything down with soapy water. Thanks, Shane. Yeah, don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Man, how much are they? Can't be that much. I need to build one. That sounds... Oh, good Lord, maybe they are expensive. Nah, here's this little Chinese one that's like $220. See. Oh, all this stuff's all broke. Here. Look at this little Chinese one. It makes smoke. And it has pressure. There you go. Jerry says his was $145 on Amazon. Like, for that price, it's not worth having to cobble something together. Ugh. I got a propane grill, bro. I'm Hank Hill in this house. Propane accessories. I know, but then you smell like cigarettes. An airbed pump. Tiki torch wick, Canthal wire, PVC fittings, and baby oil. Montage, you're killing me, man. I mean, that would work, and I got some Canthal floating around here somewhere. You guys keep on talking. I'm just going to go back to blowing air in the exhaust with my shop vac and do it that way. Oh, God. Listen. It is 8:36. It's time to wrap this up. You guys have made my night, though. You've got me cracking up. So, I don't know. Fingers crossed if we make it to test and tune tomorrow, maybe we get a full pass in. I think we ran, what, at 12:47, which is abysmal. So we should be in the low 10s, possibly in the 9s, depending on how nice the DA is. It's supposed to be like 90 degrees tomorrow, so I may have to run without a hood. I don't know. We'll see. But, yep, you guys know the drill. Thanks for stopping by the garage. Remember, ABT, always be tuning. End.